Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a nutrition and lifestyle channel giving solutions to everyday nutrition problems. So when we are talking about diabetes, we are definitely talking about high blood sugar levels, that is hyperglycemia, and very low blood sugar levels, that is hypoglycemia. And of course, there are very many complications that are brought forth by poorly managed blood sugar levels. So there's already so much misinformation going around on how exactly to manage diabetes, and most of which are already draining most diabetic patients and making it very unbearable for them to manage their blood sugar levels. We want to create a very comfortable environment for everyone, including diabetic individuals, so that we can all have just a normal life as much as possible, and in turn be able to enjoy our favorite meals, participate in sports activities, and avoid premature deaths due to complications which kick in pretty fast when the blood sugar levels are not well controlled. So here are some of the most common diabetic myths. The first one is eating sugar causes diabetes. According to the science of digestion, what happens when food gets digested? They get broken down and later get into our blood system and finally into our body cells so that we can use it for energy for our day-to-day activities. Now, keeping that in mind, what do you think happens when your diet contains too much sugar? There is going to be too much sugar in your blood system. When you're already living with diabetes, this is extremely dangerous, as the little insulin being produced, that is in type 2 diabetes, may not be sufficient enough to help the sugar get out of your bloodstream. If this continues for a long time, then the buildup of too much sugar in your blood can bring not only kidney damage, but so many other complications as well. However, if you are not diabetic, sugar alone gets into gets you into developing obesity or being overweight, which are risk factors to developing type 2 diabetes. What this means is that too much sugar is a risk factor. It's therefore safe to avoid or limit the use of foods that contain too much sugar and added sugars, for example, cakes, juices, sweets, soda, and other processed foods. So the second myth is that only overweight and obese individuals can get diabetes. Weight management is a very important aspect in managing diabetes, and living a sedentary lifestyle that includes fewer physical activities, then you'll definitely get you into being overweight and obese. But then we have a lot more causes of diabetes, including a family history of having diabetes, gestational diabetes that occurs during pregnancy, so the weight aspect is just one of them. You therefore cannot straightforward say that overweight and obese individuals will get diabetes. However, prevention is better than cure. The third one is you cannot eat carbohydrates when you're diabetic. There are three important things you need to consider when it comes to carbohydrates. How much carbohydrates are you eating? What kind of carbohydrates are you eating? How often do you eat carbohydrates? You are therefore so wrong to deny a diabetic individual carbohydrates, because just like any other people, they need carbohydrates for energy and for general nourishment. In managing diabetes, we therefore want to focus more on portion control, and that is why you have so many methods of portion control, including using the diabetes plate method, the food pyramid, and using your hands for portion control, and so on and so forth. To be on the safe side, choose more whole grain carbohydrates with slow penetrating sugars, because this will ensure that sugar gets into your blood system slowly and therefore preventing hyperglycemia. Also important is to eat small portions of carbohydrates, like a quarter of your plate being carbs, while half of your plate is vegetables. Also, avoiding simple sugars from processed foods will be a big saver. Diabetic individuals should only eat diabetic food. Is there a food you consider a diabetic food? Have you ever heard of people being advised to eat only diabetic food? What is being said here is that once you're diabetic, then you can only be restricted to diabetic foods, which is not exactly true. Now, what we recommend is a modified diet, just normal foods that are only modified in order to help a diabetic individual to maintain a normal blood sugar level. That is why we talk about portions, types, and frequency. We also want a diabetic individual to have 3 main meals, just like every other person, but only with healthy snacks like fruits, nuts, a cup of porridge, a cup of milk in between these meals, so that we can make 6 eating times in a day. of course, to prevent both hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. Therefore, it's not limited, but it is modified diet. You will go blind and lose your legs when you're diabetic. Too much of something is dangerous, rather poisonous. So with poorly managed blood sugar levels, you're therefore at risk of developing diabetic complications, including kidney failure, amputations due to slow wound healing, reduced sensations due to nerve damage, and so on and so forth. So unless you are not with the best management team and poor compliance of medication, poor food care, then you definitely not need to worry about developing diabetic complications. Diabetic individuals cannot participate in sports activity. Still going back to hypoglycemia, over-exercising can easily get your sugars low quite fast. And as much as hyperglycemia is bad, hypoglycemia is very, very bad and can lead to loss of life. So while participating in sports activities, a diabetic individual needs a very close monitoring to avoid circumstances like those. We already said we want diabetic patients to enjoy a normal life just like any other person, and sports activity is part of normal life. Diabetic individuals are prone to infections. Sugar creates a very good environment for bacteria. So while with poorly managed blood sugar levels, then you are definitely at risk of many different infections, and therefore you are better off following your diet, taking your meds properly, food care, and also exercise. So there are so many other diabetic myths out there, but what we want to do is to create a comfortable environment for individuals living with diabetes. You don't want to make their life so hard, because managing blood sugar levels is crucial. You want to maintain them at a very normal level. You don't want hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. So I hope this short tutorial has been helpful to someone out there. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. A lot of health videos, nutrition videos, lifestyle videos already up. You can watch them. And until next time, bye.